Hi, I'm Ross, I'm the chairman of the Hive business group. Really pleased to welcome Simon, our tax director here today. Thanks, Simon.
Thanks, Ross, and thanks everyone. Here at Hive, we act for over 400 dentists across the UK and Republic of Ireland. We do a huge amount of accountancy and tax planning for those dentists, as well as providing kind of full service digital marketing agency and business consultancy services.
Great. What is it you want to talk about today in the accountancy and tax world?
So yeah, today we're talking about some changes that have recently been announced by Companies House. So what these changes mean is that from the 1st of April 2027, all limited companies are going to have to put more information on their public accounts. So that's going to include primarily the profit and loss account, which gives more information than has previously been available about how a business has performed across the year.
Yeah, so is this like a very recent topical announcement then, is it?
We've known for a while that this might be coming, but literally last week...
We've known for a while that lots of things might be happening.
We know, yeah, so 10 years ago we were told about making tax digital, which is finally coming next year.
Or is it? I don't know.
We don't know anymore, no.
I think I'll give it a 3-to-1 bet. I think that it will come in when they say it will, but I think we're all planning and preparing for it. So the Companies House thing. So Companies House are different to HMRC, aren't they? So it's a different kind of regulatory body. So we're talking about two slightly different things there.
Yeah. So HMRC manage the taxes for everybody. Companies House is the public register of all the companies that exist in the UK. Yeah. For a long time, you know, limited companies have always had to put accounts on the public register. They list their directors, their registered office, all these things that you'll be familiar with. Yeah. What's new, or actually really old, because it used to be this way in the 80s and it's now coming back for increased transparency, profit and loss accounts, which show the income and the expenses, not in a huge amount of detail, but income and expenses of a business are going to be publicly available.
It's definitely kind of part of a trend that we're seeing over the kind of last decade for kind of increased transparency, and we've got extra rules coming in, haven't we, for verifying kind of directors and making sure owners of businesses are who they say they are, isn't there?
Yeah, I think as you know, kind of financial crimes have evolved over the years. We've got access to way more technology. It's believed by the government that this is one step towards cracking down on that kind of thing.
I think there was always a bit of a criticism that Companies House was actually a bit loose compared to other Companies Houses in other countries.
That's the irony. The whole point of this, they say, is to improve the information that is on the public register, but there's still no checks and tests in place to make sure the information that goes there is valid. Yeah. So it can all still be wrong. There'll just be more of it. Yeah.
So in principle, what they're saying is happening is from the 1st of April 2027, we've got to be disclosing profit and loss. So I think you're alluding there to, you know, a concise version of the profit and loss. Is that right?
Correct, yes. So those of you familiar with your company accounts will know that at the back there's a more detailed version of the profit and loss account, which breaks down expenses by, you know, what's wages, what's your lab bills, what's your rent. That information is not going to be available. It's just the headlines.
Okay, I understand. So who, might seem like an unduly detailed question, but who is this going to apply to and who isn't it going to apply to, I suppose?
As far as we know at the moment, it's going to apply to all limited companies. So really large companies, none of which will be watching this video, already file this information and produce these documents, but it's medium and
perhaps
small.
Like a Portman, Dentex, Visage, they're all in that kind of...
Yeah, so anybody who files their accounts as a small company or a micro entity is going to have to put this information on the register. But
if you are a sole trader, whether you're a sole trader practice or whether you're a sole trader associate, we're not talking about...
Correct, yeah. This is literally only people who file limited company accounts.
Cracking. Okay, so is this kind of guaranteed to happen?
We have to expect it to happen. We've been told it's going to happen, but we get told a lot of things are going to happen, and they don't when we're first told they will. So I believe this is one of those topics that the professional bodies, the likes of ICAW, who we're regulated by, they will be lobbying quite hard against this for a number of reasons.
Refining what is going to happen or not going to happen.
And there may end up being more exemptions to this rule.
Yeah, okay. So, okay, that's kind of quite clear and quite helpful, but, you know, I imagine some people might be looking at it going, well, there's a there's a bit of a tension there now because limited companies are pretty good platform for making sure optimizing your taxes, or a dentist will optimize their taxes. Is that still going to be the case?
Yeah, so like you kind of mentioned a moment ago, this is a company's house change. This is about the information that gets filed. It's not changing any of the tax rules, any of the tax planning opportunities available to companies.
Yeah.
It's very much just putting more data out there for the public.
Yeah, okay. So would an automatic reaction to be to try and cease using a limited company in some way? What's your kind of view on where dentists and existing limited company operators should go from here?
That might be the natural conclusion. Well, if all companies have to file this information and I don't want to, maybe I should stop being a company. Yeah. But actually, everybody who this applies to is, by definition, an owner-managed business.
Yeah.
That means you have a lot more flexibility in how you structure your companies, how you operate your finances.
Yeah.
There'll be more ways than you think about kind of not being as affected by this or dealing with this change. You might be perfectly kind of content with this change.
Yeah.
You might think that actually the tax savings and the tax opportunities a company gives me will outweigh the obvious step of stopping to use a company, but it's not the only option.
Yeah, okay. So, already kind of methods in place, I suppose, and possible circumstances, depending on each individual's client.
Absolutely. It's kind of very much like the other end of the kind of the start of the company journey. Should you use a company in the first place?
Yeah.
This is now kind of part of that question, but from a tax point of view, it's always been about personal circumstances, and I believe should you stop using a company is a similar decision to make.
Okay, so what should clients do or not do at this moment in time? Literally just been released.
Nothing to do at the moment. There's literally no change to anything any client will have to do ever if you're happy with these changes. Hive will be handling making sure your company accounts are correctly filed when the time comes. If the thought of putting your profit and loss information out there in the public domain is not something you're happy with, then again, no action to take right now. 1st of April 2027, if it even happens, is when anything will happen. But until then, have a chat with us. We'd love to talk to you about what your options are. Is a company still the right vehicle? Are there other options for you? And I believe there may well be.
Multiple
options out there. Yeah.
Great.
It's about, as always, right option for the right person in the right circumstances.
Yeah.
And that's what we're here to help you decide.
Cracking. Well, thanks Simon for talking about that today. I'm sure more details become released as they evolve and everything. If in the meantime anyone wants to talk to Hive about tax optimization or their company accounts, then I'm sure they're welcome to get in touch with you, Simon.
Please do. We'd love to speak to you.
Thanks. Cheers.
Thank you.